Welcome to Lab 5. In this lab we're setting up our ESXI individual hosts. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new virtual machine. Typical is fine. We are going to be changing up our ISO. Here we're going to be using the VMware installer 6. It's about 460 megs. It should detect ESXi 6. We're going to click on Next. We're going to call it ESXi 1. Destination needs to be on our P drive. I'm putting it in my VMs folder, in my VMware folder. I'm calling this ESXi 1. The name ESXi. Destination, that's good. Next. We're going to leave the default 40. The multiple files should be okay. We're going to go ahead and customize hardware. Alright, we are going to up memory to 8 gigs, processor is to 2, network adapter is NAT, that's all good. Go ahead and click Finish, and power on our VM. We're going to go ahead and hit Enter to continue. We're going to hit F11 to accept, and it should start scanning. We're going to choose the first disk. Choose your keyboard layout. Password will be our classroom password. Go ahead and hit Enter. You may get a warning about processor types. That's fine. We're going to go ahead and install it by hitting F11. And this can take anywhere between a few moments and longer depending on hardware. I'm doing this with an i7, a higher end i7 on a M.2 storage device, so installation should not take very long, but again, just be patient. Once it's done, go ahead and hit Enter to reboot, and ESXi is installed. In our next step, we're actually going to be setting up the NICs and the management of the overall hosts. Alright, let's go ahead and get inside. Let's go ahead and log in. F2 should give us the customized system. Our username is root and our password is our classroom defaults. Notice our IP address is set to a random IP address, so we actually want to navigate down to Configure Management Network, and we want to configure IPv4. We actually want to use a static one, and we actually want to set it to .21. Everything else should be okay. IPv6 configuration, let's go ahead and disable it. DNS configuration, our hostname is ESXi1.local. Custom DNS should be vita.local. And that's should be good for now. Let's go ahead and back out of it. We actually do want to apply these settings. So I'll actually restart the host. We actually want to verify some of the settings before we proceed. Alright, so after we restart, we're going to have to relog back in. We actually want to do some management testing, so let's go ahead and test management network. Let's see if we can also ping the DNS server, and let's see if we can resolve our name. We should get OKs for all of them. Resolving ESXi1.vita.local. If it does fail, let's go ahead and revisit that. Alright, if it doesn't ping, let's go back to Configure Management Network. Let's go back to IPv4 setting. Let's verify that's all good. Let's verify DNS configuration. Oh, here it is. It has to be .vida.local. Okay, so let's go ahead and back out. And let's test again. If it's not a fully qualified domain name, it will not work. If it keeps failing, that's okay. We were going to worry about this a little bit later. It should ping all the way through, but sometimes it gets a little bit angry. Alright, one thing that I did notice is sometimes under DNS configuration, we need to make sure that we're pointing it to our DNS server, which is .19, not .2. .2 is our default gateway. Yes. So let's test management one more time. And now it should all work because it is pointing to our DNS server. As long as the reverse zones are set up, reverse lookup zones are set up, this should all work. Alright, let's go ahead and back out. Hit F12 to shut down. And I want to go ahead and shut down. We're going to be adding some additional NICs, and that'll be it for this lab. Alright, once it's off, let's go ahead and edit this. We actually want to add in a few more machines, because currently we only have one NIC. We want to add in at least 5 more. We want 6 total. So the second NIC we're going to be adding is going to be NAT. The third NIC we're going to be adding should be VNet1. The fourth NIC we're going to be adding should be VNet2. And we're going to add 2 additional VNet3s. So we should have 6 total NICs, and we should be good to go. Click OK. Verify that all of them are there. Redo the same steps for ESXi 2. Alright, so I'm going to do the ESXi 2. I'm just going to do it fairly quickly though. ESXi 6, that's fine. 2, changing the save location to VMs, VMware, ESXi 2. 40 gigs should be fine. I'm going to customize the hardware. Pumping it up to 8 gigs. Finishing. Let it power on. I'm going to go through the setup process. So a lot of people may ask, why am I not creating the NICs first? That's because in ESXi, when you're nesting them like we are doing, sometimes they get really weird about actually having them all detected. So I decided not to go that route. You guys don't need to worry about the load process. This is the version that I'm using. This is the hardware that I'm using. Okay, accept it. I'm going to go through the basic installation again. It should scan for the available drives. That's fine. Keyboard. Put in our course password. I'm going to install it. This should just take a few moments. The installation process, again, doesn't take very long. I'm going to reboot it, log into it, and reset up the networks accordingly. Alright, go ahead and log into it. We want to configure the management. We want to use static. We're going to set it to 22. We want to disable IPv6. We want to set DNS to 19. Host name is ESXI 2.data.local. Custom DNS prefix is data.local. We're going to go ahead and reboot the host because we disabled IPv6, so we have to restart the host. Once it restarts, we're going to power it off and add the NICs. Alright, once it restarts, go ahead and power it off. And we're going to go ahead and add the additional 5 NICs that we need. Again, we need 2 VNet 8, 2 VNet 3s, 1 VNet 1, and 1 VNet 2. Once this guy goes ahead and powers off. Alright, now that it's off, with settings, we're going to add network, VNet 8, VNet 1, VNet 2, VNet 3, and another VNet 3. Click OK. Make sure 6 NICs are there. You're good to go. Have a great night.